CV Outlook, a lively and entertaining look at people and events at Chippewa Valley High School. And now, your host for today.
Hi, I'm Miriam Algerman and welcome back to CV Outlook. Today we have here Colleen Woodlock. She's the physical director of the YMCA down in Mount Clemens. Hi, Colleen.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, fine.
Good.
Can you give us a little background on what the YMCA is and what goes on there?
Sure. The YMCA is an international organization that started in London in 1844, and the purpose of it was really then to help young people have activities to do that were wholesome, good activities as they were moving from the country to the city, to London in particular.
Mm-hmm.
The tradition continues that the Y's focus is on young people and providing programs for young people, as well as everyone else, that enhance people's lives through body, mind, and spirit.
That's great. How did you get involved with the YMCA? How did it interest you?
Well, I like the physical part myself, and in 1979 I took aerobics classes. I started teaching it in 1980. I became a volunteer at the Y in 1984 and was on their board of directors. 1986 they hired me from the board of directors to be the physical director, and that's what I've been doing since.
That's really good. As a physical director, how can you describe the type of activities you're involved with?
Well, I oversee the exercise programs in the building, in the Y building itself, and lots of programs outside the building. For instance, lots of teachers work for me that teach aerobics all around the community and in the YMCA. We have fitness equipment at the Y that I am responsible to teach people how to use and to demonstrate to other volunteers, to have them show people how to use it. Weight rooms, Nautilus equipment, cardiovascular equipment, things like that.
I see. I see that you brought a step with you.
Yes.
Can you give a demonstration and explain what it's used for?
I sure can. I'd be glad to.
Okay, thanks a lot.
The beauty of the step is that you can use it at different levels and regulate your intensity of your workout by how high you put your step. If you notice the risers under the platform, you'll see that they can come up and lower, and you're going to beginner exercisers working with people who are in really good condition all at the same time. When you step, you keep time with the music, and that's what keeps you motivated and going and makes the whole thing fun. A basic step would be stepping onto the platform and then back off the platform, up, up, down, down. Might look kind of boring at this point, but actually, when you get going with the music and you start doing patterns moving around from one place to another, it gets to be really lots of fun. Especially when you have 40 people in a classroom doing it all together. I'm going to bring this up to tempo now and just show you how it goes. I hope that you can hear the beat of the music here, and it goes like this. Up, up, down, down. Now the purpose of stepping up is that you lift your own weight, and that makes your heart pump fast because the muscles that are doing the lifting are calling for a lot of blood. Now just to make things a little more exciting, we're going to tap here and change the lead leg. Did you see that? So that you're not always stepping up with the same leg and developing the muscle in only one leg. So we alternate that. I'm going to change again so you can see right here. It's a tap. And it changes. Then to make things a little more exciting, we might do something like a knee lift. This again increases the intensity of what you're doing because you're lifting that leg well above the step. And then sometimes you like to turn it around. So go back to a basic. And then walk across the step like so. Add that knee lift here. By varying the actions of the step, you can make it exciting and motivating and interesting to the class, and that's what keeps people coming back over and over. You should give it a try.
Thank you for the demonstration. What kind of exercise is step?
Stepping is a cardiovascular exercise. That means it's for your heart and for your lungs, as opposed to other skeletal muscles, like weight training would be for muscles around your bones.
Why is stepping better than other exercises other than weightlifting? You just answered it, basically.
Well, it's not necessarily that it's better, but I always explain things to people this way. Exercising with weights is great. It's good to keep your muscles strong, and it's good to keep them large and healthy and able to endure a lot of activity. But your heart is also a muscle, and if it's not working, the rest of the muscles don't even matter. In other words, you have to exercise your heart too to keep it strong so that you can have the strength to, or even the ability to live and do the other things that you want to do.
That's great. If I or if anybody else wanted to sign up for STEP, where would I have to sign up at, and like where
Well,
would
if you
I have
wanted-
to go for the classes?
If you want to take it through the YMCA, you can come right to the Y, and we have the steps right there that you can use and take the classes in our building, in our gym. We have lots of good instructors there. But we also offer classes right here through Chippewa Valley Community Education and through several other school districts, community education. And what you would do is just call the number for community ed here at Chippewa Valley, and they would tell you the times and at what schools we offer STEP. If you take STEP through one of those organizations outside of the Y, you have to bring your own equipment. But STEPs are available at lots of different sporting goods stores now, so it's easy to do.
So there's like all different ages of people that take this STEP exercising class?
Yes, I've even got something called youth aerobics now, and I do some stepping with the kids ages 6 to 11. Then I have another class for teenagers, 12 to 18-year-olds. And then after you're about 16, you can fit right into the adult classes if you want.
That's great. Well, we're running out of time, so thank you for coming in, and I hope people will want to sign up for your STEP classes.
Well,
This sounds really fun.
Thanks, I enjoyed being here.
And thank you, and see you later.
McGruff, the crime dog here. Tony thinks he's gonna walk home alone. Tony is wrong.
Tony! What are you doing? Walking off by yourself.
Good thing it was his friends, 'cause teenagers are the victims of over 2,000 violent crimes by strangers every day. You can help stop it. Learn to protect yourself and your friends. Find out more. Write to McGruff, the crime dog, and help take a fight out of crime.
Hi, I'm Kelly Murkey for CV Outlook, and with me is Don Murkey, a private pilot based in Romeo, Michigan. Today he's going to discuss with us flying as a sport. Hi.
Hello.
How did you first get interested in flying?
Oh, as a teenager, I had the opportunity to fly with other pilots and to experience the thrill of it, and I was interested in the theory and also just to accomplish doing it.
Okay, is it hard to get your license? Are there a lot of schooling and tests to go through?
Yeah, it's they claim that a private license is equivalent to 2 semesters of college, and the skill level is basic coordination, and there's a written test, 40 hours of flying in the airplane minimum, 20 with an instructor, 20 without, and the written test is given by the federal government, and that's the first phase. There's other phases such as instrument training, which is equivalent to 4 semesters of college, another written test, another physical, and another practical test with 40 more hours of training.
Okay, is the schooling and the equipment and everything, is that expensive?
Yeah, it's basic private license. If you rent the airplane is approximately $1,500. If you own your own airplane, it would be about $800 for the training, and then the physical is about $100, and then fuel, so on.
What kind of physical shape do you have to be in, and do you have to go get it from like a regular doctor, and can it be taken away?
First of all, like every 24 months you have to have a physical, fairly stringent, eyes corrected to 20/20. It has to be a flight surgeon, it has to be a special doctor.
Okay, what kind of different types of licenses are there that you can obtain?
Private license, which enables you to fly recreational. They just had a new license before that called it is actually recreational, which is like an ultralight or something like that. And instrument rating, then a commercial rating to fly for hire, and then a airline transport pilot, which would enable you to fly airliners.
Okay, what kind of plane do you personally own?
I own a airplane built in France. It's called a Trinidad, and the identifier would be a TB20, and it's performance-wise, it flies out 185 miles per hour, has retractable gear, and equipped to fly in the clouds and instruments.
Okay, are you involved in any activities other than just for your own use? Do you?
Yes, I fly a charity missions for a group called Mercy Med Flights, and we fly cancer patients, people who cannot afford to fly from areas far away from the hospital, and we cannot ride in a car or an ambulance for a long period of time, cannot afford a flight. We go up, for example, to the UP, take them down to Ann Arbor, or return them. Mostly it seems to be parents and their children, and Ann Arbor Hospital takes care of them from there.
Okay, and would you have any suggestions for anyone that would be interested in getting into flying?
Save a lot of money. No, it's to go out, talk to instructors, talk to other pilots, possibly get an airplane ride in a small plane, because there are some people who don't care for it, and then research and have your money in place so you don't have to fly like 1 hour every 2 weeks. You can hit it aggressively, because the longer time between your lessons, the harder it is to reorganize yourself and stay current.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us today, and this has been Kelly Murkey for CV Outlook.
She's got her mother's baby blue eyes, her grandmother's soft, rosy cheeks, her Aunt Vicky's golden blonde hair. Will she also have her parents' carelessness with fire? Being careless with fire is not something kids inherit. It's something they learn from you. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Hi, welcome back to CV Outlook. I'm your host, Mike Alston. Today we have a guest, Jim Tuman, who has recently spoken here at Chippewa Valley High School. He's a motivational speaker. He's spoken all across the country, as a matter of fact, all around the world. Hi, welcome to CV Outlook.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay. One of the first questions we have is, what's your background and what qualifies you to speak to the students?
Well, probably the greatest background that I have is that I've lived out some of these things. I'm a product of 3 suicide attempts in my life. I was a high achiever kid who virtually had it all, and inside I was really empty. And so I lived through a lot of personal pain. And in my family, love was based on performance. So the more I performed, the greater the love. Well, I always saw myself growing up as a shy, insecure boy who, you wonder one day, if you don't perform, will there be any love? So you live with this, and you live with this pain.
How long have you been speaking?
This is 10 years. Actually, I cycled back to the school almost to the day, Kelly Junior High School in Detroit, almost to the day 10 years ago. So I just spoke there this past February, so I'm into my second 10-year cycle here.
Wow. When you go around and you go to speaking, what's the basic message you try to get across to the kids, the students?
I think everybody struggles with priorities, what has value in our lives. I did a PBS special that I'm very proud of, that I worked, which was I went into a hospice, and I asked young people who were measuring their life in days and hours, what's important to you now? And, as opposed to when you thought that you had, years to live. And invariably, every person said to me, my friends and family now. Not the stuff that I own, but my friends and family, the relationships that I have, and the relationships that I have built up over my life. So that's really the basic message.
Right. What's your most memorable experience, your most memorable one, with speaking to audiences?
Well, I think from just an impact level, I was speaking at a school in California, and there was approximately 3,000 students in the room. And a young girl got up in front of the whole school, and she said, "My father gives me all the stuff he thinks I could want. I wish he would just come home and hold me." And every student in that room got up on their feet and gave her a standing ovation. She had somehow snaked her way into the nerves, you know, in the nerve of every one of these young people.
When you go out there and you do your speaking, when you're done and your audience is applauding for you, and you see the emotion, you feel the emotion coming from the audience, how does that make you feel when you see the biggest jocks in the school crying, you know, or just a little person on the side crying? How does that make you feel?
Well, I have to be honest with you that for the first few years that I did this, see, I worked off of an abandonment in my life when my parents got divorced when I was 15. And so I've lived with the pain of this abandonment. And it's been very difficult for me to take in love because I was always afraid that that love would disappear. And so what happens is that when you, in answering your question, that, you know, how do I feel after a program now, it's a renewed chance for me in the last 6 or 7 years since I've learned to allow myself to feel loved, that it's a real special experience to you know, to have an audience, you know, that wants to in some way, you know, be caring and loving to me. So this is very new to me. It's only 6 or 7 years old, and each time it just is like a rebirth. So I enjoy it.
In your show, you rip up a dollar bill and you hand it out to people. The parts that you rip off. What's the purpose of that? Is there like, I mean, did you just do it to do it, or is there like a meaning?
Well, it's really symbolic. And it's symbolic of people first, things second, and you'll never be alone in your life. And we have a tendency to put things before people, and my focus in this work is to put people before things.
Right. For anybody out there who's having any problems, whether it be with family, with friends, with anything, whatever it may be, what's the best advice that you can give to them?
Well, I think that we spend a lot of time, especially adults, we spend a lot of time guessing what all of you want and need. And we guess wrong. And so consequently, we're always guessing. And what we need to do is to create the safe place where everybody can be 100% open and be themselves and be able to feel free enough to talk about what's going on inside. So I think if there's anything that people really need to do is they need to look for a safe place.
Right.
And I call that safe place best friends.
Right.
And best friends is not necessarily a person.
Right.
It can be just a safe place that you know that you can go to, that no matter how badly you mess up in your life, that there will be somebody there for you.
All through the years of your traveling and traveling from state to state and city to city and country to country, what kind of mental and physical toll does it take on your body?
Well, my commitment, and that's why I'm spending so much time this year in Michigan, my commitment, see, I had a dream years ago when I first got started in this work that I wanted to be a national speaker. Now I have a dream I want to be a local speaker. I mean, I want to shift this.
Right.
Last year I put 120,000 air miles on, and from a realistic standpoint, the travel is, I mean, you watch how I work in a room, and I put out, you know, it's like a Vic Tanny workout. I mean, I get my sweater is drenched, and I get through because I'm putting so much of it into this program. Then to get on a plane or to go someplace and to take the travel aspect of this, you add the stress, and you're always, you know, running to meet a plane or, you know, getting a rental car or getting to a hotel, and after a while they begin to look alike. And so anybody that tells you that being out on the road, especially in this type of career, you know, has a degree of glamour, it wanes very quickly.
That's all the time we have today for CV Outlook. I would like to thank Jim Tooman for coming by, and if you get a chance, go see him speak. Get out to wherever he's speaking and go see him. That's all the time we got today for CV Outlook. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Here in this land of plenty, about 10 million people are hungry. Many don't know they're eligible for food stamps. They've lost a job, a farm, or a husband. Food stamps can help. Now one call can get you information to tell you if you qualify for food stamps and how to get them. America has made a place at our table of plenty for you. Call 1-800-453-4000. Mealtimes don't have to be tough times.
Hi, welcome to CV Outlook. I'm Kelly Deskins, and with me today is Sven Schroeder from Germany. He's a student exchange student he's going here, and he's uniquely talented. So you can juggle, juggle fire,
Yeah.
and ride a unicycle,
Yeah.
and balance objects on your head.
Yeah, that's right.
How many years have you been involved in these kind of things?
I started about 2 years, and I saw a street performer in Hamburg, and I really liked it. And then I bought a book and I teach myself.
How old were you when you first noticed this, that you liked this?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I liked it like when I was 5 years old, but I never got used to it. And then I saw this man, and I really looked at him, and then I started.
Have you ever been in any competitions or shows?
Yeah, it's difficult to have competitions in juggling because how many balls, so that doesn't work. But I had like two shows in the streets or on the street, and I had 2 shows on private parties.
Have you made profits off of this ever?
Yeah, a little bit.
Basically for fun?
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever taught others how to juggle?
Yeah, at my school in Germany, I had a workshop for kids from 8 to 11 years old, and everyone who wants to learn it, I showed to.
That's neat. Okay, would you like to show our audience a little bit of what you can do?
No problem.
Okay. Hi, welcome back. That was great.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you can do besides?
No, I can balance some things on my chin.
Okay, maybe we'll get some of that later on. But so you're an exchange student. How long have you been in the U.S.?
I've been here for 8 weeks now.
Do you like it?
Yeah, something's better than in Germany, and something's worse.
Like what? What differences?
For example, the junk food. There's so much junk food, like here. Yeah.
Do they eat a lot of more healthy food in Germany?
Yeah, I don't want to say healthy, but it's different food, and you don't have so many activities at school, for example, and you have more activities in your private time. That's a big difference.
Okay. Well, this has been CV Outlook. Thank you.
Last year, the federal government wasted $600 million maintaining obsolete computers. It wasted $25 million on duplicate mailings and paid out over $5 billion in mistaken benefits. You'd think in all the years of man's development, we'd have learned by now how tragic it is to waste something you worked so hard to get. For more information on how your hard-earned tax dollars are being spent, call Citizens Against Government Waste, 1-800-USA-DEBT.
Hi, welcome back to CV Outlook. I'm your host for this segment, Chris Santiago. And with me today is our special guest, Mr. Al Diver. He's going to be the new principal at Dakota High School. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Chris.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and about your family or anything like that.
Well, I'm from southeast Michigan. I was born in a little town called Deerfield. I went to high school at Monroe Catholic Central, and then I went to eastern Michigan for my education, and went back to almost the same area to work. I was just left the principalship at Blissfield High School.
So is it a lot different over there than here in this area?
The biggest difference, I think, is the size here and the number of students, number of staff, and that makes it exciting.
When you were growing up, did you plan to become, go into school administration, teaching, or like you always had another career choice or anything?
I never thought I would end up in administration. I did think I would end up in teaching. And I probably started to realize that as a real vocation when I was about a junior in high school.
Yeah, did you have that kind of concept when you were little, like, oh, I don't want to become a school teacher? It's like, oh, this, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a choice early on.
So tell us about some of the courses in college you took. Was it certain courses you took to go into high school teaching? What was your main course of study there?
Well, I was a social science major, and social science is not just history, but sociology and psychology and geography and so on. And that was largely due to a teacher that I had in high school as a junior that kind of created an interest for me in those areas. And I thought, if he can teach those, for example, U.S. history, and make that really interesting and exciting, then that's something I would like to do.
In what ways did, he inspire you?
Well, history up until that point for me had always been it's kind of boring, something you had to take, something you had to do, and he made that all come alive, and it was in a variety of ways.
That's great. How about in college? Was there anyone there that inspired you, or?
Probably college was a lot of getting through it as far as the coursework. The best thing about college was all of the people that you get to associate with, and as close as you are to high school friends, your college friends end up being much closer friends because you live with them.
That's great. So how did you feel when you were offered the position here at in the Chippewa Valley District? Was it overwhelming, or kind of wow?
I was really excited, and it was a strong field of candidates, and I felt elated. I also wondered, what was it that allowed me to get a job like that? I started to think back to where I came from, and thought, how did I get here from there? So it was a little bit overwhelming.
Did you start off as a teacher, like you said you taught at
Blissfield.
Blissfield. Did you start off a teacher there? And
I taught 14 years. And I was an assistant varsity football coach. I was a varsity basketball coach. I was student council advisor. Had a lot of experiences that I guess put me in line for administration. Then I became an assistant principal, and then I became principal.
How long were you principal there?
3 years.
3 years. And so could you tell us a little bit about some of your hopes and things that you want to see at Dakota High School?
Well, I think probably the the things that have helped me get where I am. The fact that I believe strongly in interdisciplinary learning. And we have classes back at Blissfield High School where science, social studies, and language arts are taught together by a team of teachers. And the outcomes for the students are established up front. And studying those together rather than individually and switching classes every 50 minutes seems to make more sense. And Dakota and Chippewa Valley High School here are going to be structured for teachers to work in teams. So in that respect, it's kind of a dream come true. We had to make do with an existing facility and try to team up. And these buildings are going to be built that way.
How do you feel about like kind of like relationship a principal and a student should have?
Well, I have always been extremely close to students and thrived on getting to know them individually. That's probably the thing that I guess that scares me the most, is I don't want to lose contact with students. That's why I got in the business, and I don't want to give that up in a bigger school.
You kind of like worried about starting?
Not so much worried about it. I just want to find ways to get to know the students individually.
Well, it sounds like you have a great outlook there, and I'm sure that you'll be a great principal there. And for any of you students, it'll be starting up, it'll be opening in what?
It opens in September of '94, but I'm here every day right now. So feel free to introduce yourself. That's probably going to be the best way. I don't want to be this person that walks around and people wonder what he is, or who he is, or what he does.
There are many students here that say, "Who's that guy walking down?" Oh, that's our principal there. So, I'm sure you're going to be a great principal, and for all you students that are watching that'll be going to Dakota High School, like, here's your new principal there, and I'm sure you're going to love him. I'm Chris Santiago, and I'll be seeing you next time.
Thanks for watching CV Outlook. CV Outlook is entirely produced and directed by students from the Radio TV department at Chippewa Valley High School.